The Code Noir was never abolished, a legal time bomb hidden for 340 years. This is a fact that, by all logic, should have shaken every diplomatic desk in the world and triggered an outcry from every human rights organization on the planet. And yet, the announcement passed almost unnoticed, as if it were a minor administrative update with no real consequence.
In this month of remembrance, I speak for my colleagues Max Mathiasin and Olivier Serva, deputies from Guadeloupe, and all my colleagues from the Lyot Group, to highlight a troubling legal issue. The Black Code remains unrepealed. The Black Code, royal edicts from 1685, governed slavery and made people property. It includes abhorrent punishments such as lashings, branding with a hot iron, the cutting of hamstrings and ears, and the death penalty. While one might believe that the 1848 decree abolishing slavery repealed the Black Code, that is not the case. No text has ever formally abolished it. So yes, France has declared the slave trade and slavery crimes against humanity. Yes, we have a national day of remembrance for the slave trade, slavery, and their abolition on May 10th. Yes, we have a national day honoring the victims of colonial slavery on May 23rd. But no, France has never repealed the Black Code. Here we are talking about human dignity, about symbols owed to those women and men who were enslaved to their descendants in the name of restorative justice. The time has come for the Republic to cleanse itself of the disgrace that is the Black Code. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, deputies, Mr. President Panifus, thanks to you, thanks to your question. I am discovering this legal reality that I was completely unaware of.
In May 2025, France officially abolished the Code Noir. Yes, in 2025. For 340 years, this racist, slave-owning text remained embedded in the French legal system. For 340 years, the Republic claimed to be the land of human rights while keeping on its books a law that made black people into slaves, into property, into movable goods that could be sold, married off, beaten, mutilated, or killed, all with the full blessing of royal law. And no one said a word, not Amnesty International, not Human Rights Watch, not the United Nations, not even African institutions. But in legal terms, silence is never neutral. In law, what is not repealed remains potentially applicable. Even if the Code Noir wasn't actively used in courts, its presence meant something. No legislator since 1848 had ever thought it necessary to formally erase it. Why? That's a question worth asking. Because in legal doctrine, what is not removed is kept, perhaps to be used again. This late abolition of the Code Noir opens up a deeply troubling legal question. Have all black citizens who bought property in France or married there done so under a legal framework that never fully recognized their humanity? According to the Code Noir, a slave has no legal personhood. He cannot own property. He cannot marry freely. He cannot inherit. He cannot even testify in court. Which means that a vast number of civil and legal acts involving people of African descent may have occurred in fundamental contradiction with the underlying legal framework. Symbolically, it casts doubt on the full recognition of black people as subjects of law. It opens a terrifying possibility. For over 3 centuries, the French Republic pretended to integrate us while quietly maintaining a legal mechanism that dehumanized us, ready to be revived. And this is not conspiracy theory. This is legal fact. The Code Noir was already in violation of natural law when it was written. But keeping it in place until 2025 constitutes a direct breach of multiple international commitments made by France. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, which bans slavery in all its forms. The European Convention on Human Rights, Article 4 of which forbids slavery and forced labor. the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, which France ratified in 1971, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, to which France refers in its diplomatic dealings with Africa, and even France's own constitution, which enshrines liberty, equality, and human dignity. How can a state claim to uphold these values while preserving a law like the Code Noir in its legal archives? This was no oversight. This was no accident. It was a choice. And what that choice reveals is chilling. The French legal system deliberately left open the possibility of reinstating racial domination. The proof? Not a single so-called human rights watchdog ever demanded the abolition of the Code Noir. They never even mentioned it. Because deep down, they didn't see a problem with the idea that a people could still legally be considered enslavable. Let's be clear. What France has done is preserve, through legal stealth, a right of ownership over our bodies, our lands, our lives. And today, we see this logic creeping back under new names: selective immigration, state racism, Islamophobic laws, and military interventions in Africa dressed up as humanitarian missions. Today, in 2025, we can no longer be silent. The formal abolition of the Code Noir is not just symbolic. It is irrefutable legal proof that Africans have been and still may be seen as subhuman in the minds of former colonial powers. This is a wake-up call to every black person on earth. Because if you can be legally defined as a piece of property for 340 years with no apology, no reparation, no recognition, then you have never been a citizen. You've only been tolerated. And what is merely tolerated can one day be revoked. Now is the time to speak out, to demand justice, to bring lawsuits before international courts, to claim reparations, recognition, and dignity. Silence no longer protects us. History just uncovered a buried crime, and the world is watching. But this time, it will see us standing.